health makes me sick. I mean, when I get a cold in my head, like I got now, everything goes to pot. Just let me get laid up for 2 or 3 days and wham, the whole world crumbles. Take, for example, Zelda Gilroy. To Dobie with love, 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 Zelda. She's wig for me, that girl. I'll confess that I don't treat her too great. In fact, I'm usually telling her to get off my back. I like her, you understand, but love? Negative. So I keep trying to lose Zelda, but she won't get lost. She wants me, and that's it. Nobody else will do. Faithful, loyal, devoted Zelda. So what happened when I got sick? Yeah, faithful, loyal, devoted Zelda. But that's not the worst that happened during my illness. You know my friend Maynard G. Krebs. To Dobie Gillis, from his friend Maynard G. Krebs, a great American. Well, there's lots of things you can say about Maynard. He's a dunce, he's a dolt, he's a mess, he's a nut. But there's one thing nobody can say about Maynard, that he's a liar. Beneath the shabby exterior of Maynard G. Krebs, there beats the truest, most honest heart in the whole wide world. Maynard has never, I repeat, never told a lie in his life. Nothing but the truth has ever come out of that beard. That is, until the day I got sick.
I'll tell you why I don't have my history homework, Mr. Pomfret, sir. Last night when I sat down at my desk with a nice big stack of clean white paper and a brand new fountain pen all ready to do my homework, all of a sudden the window opened and a whole bunch of gypsies jumped through the window and stole me.
So small that it's not visible even under the most powerful microscope, brought my whole world crashing down. One little flu bug, a couple of days out of school, and what happens? Total annihilation. Let me start at the beginning. The day started at S. Peter Pryor Junior College, just like any other day, except, of course, I wasn't there. There was Zelda, miserable and unhappy because I wasn't around. I mean, that girl lives for me. I mean, she wouldn't look at another guy.
History 102?
Sure is, and my name is Zelda Gilroy, and the seat right next to mine is vacant. What's your name?
Nate Gahagan.
Why, that's a perfectly lovely name.
Nate Gahagan is a lovely name?
Mm-hmm. It's got character, and so have you, Nate. Character and intelligence. I can see that. You got a girl?
Well, nothing serious.
Me either. Nothing serious, I mean. I've got this one boy who's ape for me, Dobie Gillis.
You mean the one who keeps telling you to get lost?
Well, I know it might look that way.
It sure does. I remember once when he saw you coming, he did 100 yards and 9, too. Not bad for a guy with flat feet.
Just running from himself. Inside, he's really wild about me.
So how come you're making a pitch at me?
Who's making a pitch? A new kid transfers into the class. The least I can do is be friendly.
Zelda, no offense, but no thanks.
You don't want a friend?
You don't want a friend. What you want is a reserve on the bench in case Gillis finally makes his getaway.
You're jumping to conclusions.
Well, that's my business, jumping. I'm center on the basketball team. That is, if I start getting a few passing grades. And believe me, Zelda, for me, that ain't easy. So right now, if you don't mind, I'd just as soon not get caught in a crossfire between you and Gillis. I got enough troubles. Small girl, don't talk to me.
I wasn't going to. I'm not going to talk to anybody ever again. People are no darn good.
Especially this people.
You can't trust anybody. A gorgeous hunk of man conceals a heart of stone.
Especially this gorgeous hunk of man.
Maynard, I know I'm going to regret this, but what are you talking about?
That.
My homework?
Yeah, Mr. Pomfret said anybody who didn't turn their homework in was going to get a flunk for sure. True?
And you haven't got yours, true?
How could I have my homework? Dobe's sick in bed.
You mean you've been sitting up with Dobie?
I mean, Dobe always does my homework.
This is serious. What are you going to tell Mr. Pomfret?
I'm going to tell him a lie.
You? Oh, come now.
Yep, me, Maynard G. Honorable. I'm going to tell a lie.
You never told a lie in your whole life.
Maybe even longer.
So what's come over you now?
Believe me, small girl, this was no easy decision. I've been up half the night thinking about it. I bet I can get more like 12, 14 hours sleep.
Maynard, you can't tell a lie. You're just not the type. You stand alone, Maynard. There isn't another human being like you.
I got to give you that.
Oh, don't do it, please, Maynard. Underneath those rags and tatters beats a heart that's sweet and clean and pure.
I thought you thought I was a nut.
You are a nut, but you're an honest nut.
Please, small girl, don't make it any harder for me. I just gotta lie to Mr. Pomfret.
You can't.
I gotta.
You can't.
I gotta.
Oh, Mr. Krabs, I don't know what you think you gotta, but I know what I know you gotta. You gotta turn in your history assignment today, and so does everybody else in this class. And no, repeat, no excuses will be accepted. Does anybody want to try me?
Me, your professorship.
You don't have your homework, Mr. Krabs?
No, and you want to know why I don't have it?
I do know why. You didn't do it.
Right, and you want to know why I didn't do it?
Maynard,
Well, sir, I'm going to tell you why I haven't got my history homework, sir. Last night when I sat down at my desk with a nice big clean stack of white paper and a brand new fountain pen all ready to do my homework, all of a sudden the window opened and a whole bunch of gypsies jumped through the window and stole me. And they took me to their secret hiding place in the woods and they bound me with golden chains and they blindfolded my eyes with a big red banana.
That's bandana, Mr. Krabs, and this is the most ridiculous story I've ever heard.
Pretty pathetic, huh?
It's pitiful, but pray continue.
Really? Well, after the gypsies fell asleep around the campfire, I kind of squinched myself up and escaped from the golden chains. And I grabbed the gypsy's guitar and I knocked out the gypsy king. And I leapt over the campfire and ran through the woods because their big ferocious dogs were after me. And I jumped into the lake and swam all night until I reached civilization. And that's why I haven't got my history homework.
Mr. Krabs, I can only say one thing.
That's what I was afraid of.
I believe you.
Oh, come now.
I must agree that never in my long years as a teacher have I ever heard such a fantastically insane story.
I'll buy that.
But at the same time, never in my long years as a teacher have I ever had a pupil who never, not once ever, told a lie except you, Mr. Krabs. And therefore, although my every instinct tells me that I should give you a flunk, I must accept your excuse.
Hey, Zell, why didn't you tell me about this before? This lion is great stuff.
You heard that. My friend Maynard G. Krebs, honest Maynard G. Krebs, truthful Maynard G. Krebs, has just told his first lie and he's gotten away with it. You heard what he said to Zelda.
Hey, Zell, why didn't you tell me before? This lion is great stuff.
The feet of Maynard G. Krebs are on the primrose path to perdition. And here I am stuck in bed with this rotten cold. Who, oh, who will save Maynard G. Krebs?
Me, oh me, I will save you, Maynard G. Krebs.
Save me from what, small girl? I got it made.
Maynard, you're wrong.
Maynard, I'm right. Look, small girl, all my life I've been telling the truth and all I've been getting is lumps. Now, for the first time I tell a lie and I come up smelling like a rose.
Listen.
No, small girl, my head's made up. From now on, nothing's coming out of this mouth with big black lies. I'm taking care of number one.
That's right, Maynard. You take care of number one. Never mind about me.
What's it got to do with you if I tell lies?
Look, Maynard, believe it or not, you're an inspiration to all of us.
Me? Oh, come now.
Yes, you. In this world of treachery and strife, there you stand. Simple, sweet, truthful.
Gee, I'm getting like pretty misty.
You stay misty, Maynard. Stay pure, stay trusting, stay innocent. Stay the same dear, uncomplicated, honest Maynard G. Krebs you've always been.
Oh, thank you, Zelda, for showing me the error of my ways. Oh, thank you, thank you, thank you.
Maynard! Maynard! Control yourself.
I hate to intrude on this touching demonstration, but may one inquire the reason?
Professorship, I have told a big fat lie. I didn't get stole by no gypsies. In fact, I got no excuse at all for my history homework not being turned in. Oh, punish me, Mr. Pomfret, for I've been bad.
Krabs, arise.
You're gonna punish me now, Mr. P, huh?
Mr. Krebs, if memory serves, this is a class in history. And if history teaches us one thing, it is that tyranny falls, scoundrels are driven out, and in the end, honesty always prevails. But you already know this, Mr. Krebs. I'm not going to punish you. Instead, because you've been honest with me, I am going to give you a passing grade. You're first, I believe.
No kidding, Mr. Pomfret?
No kidding, Mr. Krebs.
Oh, thank you, sir.
Yeah, please. No unseemly display of emotion.
Zell, you're the greatest.
Well, I'm glad somebody thinks so.
I mean, about always telling the truth. You're so right.
Yes, Maynard.
I'm gonna say the same sweet, lovable, honest kid I always been.
Fine, Maynard.
Oh, what a good boy am I.
Yes, Maynard.
I'm a darling.
Uh-huh.
I'm a cuddle bunny.
Uh-huh.
You're a nut.
But I'm always gonna do like you said, small girl. I'm always gonna tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Now, I love the truth. Let's get that straight immediately. I love the truth. I also love my mom's apple pie, but there's such a thing as too much apple pie. There's also, I found out, such a thing as too much truth.
Like, hi, Mr. G. Is Dobie out of bed yet?
Not yet.
Gee, it's 2 whole days. Awful long time to stay in bed.
Yes, Maynard.
You sure he ain't dead and you're trying to keep it from me? Come on, tell me, Mr. G, I can take it.
Maynard, Dobe has a cold in his head. He'll be up in a day or two. He's fine. I'm fine. Everybody's fine.
You're fine? Oh, come now. Of course I'm fine. You don't look fine. I mean, your eyes are all kind of red and puffy, your face is all kind of mean and squinched up, and you're all kind of hunched over and stooped.
Maynard, are you trying for a fat ear?
No, sir. I'm only telling the truth, because that's all I tell, the truth. Benjamin Franklin says, the truth stands on two legs, they lie on one.
And Herbert T. Gillis says you better get out of here while you still got two legs to get out on.
Very well, sir. But before I go, I'd like to make another observation. I don't care how you comb your hair, I can still see the bald spot.
That does it. Out! Oh, good morning, miss. May I help you?
Good morning. Am I interrupting something?
Oh, no, just a little friendly horseplay with one of the neighborhood lads. Here, Maynard. Have a kumquat.
Gee, like, thanks, Mr. G. You never gave me nothing before, not even the time of day.
Goodbye, Maynard. Run along like a good boy. You're new in the neighborhood?
Yes, we just moved in. I thought I'd stock up on a few groceries.
Yes, ma'am. Fire one.
Tomatoes?
Tomatoes. Oh, yes. Picked and selected with friendly, loving care.
Yeah, all the big red ones have been picked and selected and put in the top.
Neighborhood comic.
Yeah, and all the little green hard ones have been picked and selected for the bottom.
Oh, what a card you are. Did you want one or two baskets, ma'am?
I think I'll pass up the tomatoes.
Good thinking. I wouldn't get any tomatoes either.
Goodbye, Maynard.
Stick around, kid. How are your eggs? Fresh?
Fresh? Oh, we just got a shipment in from the country not more than
3 weeks ago. Dobie me up, unload the truck, remember?
Oh, what a cut-up. You should see him with a lampshade on his head. I wish you could right now. How many did you want, miss? 1 or 2 dozen? You're putting your list away?
Is this the only grocery around here?
Oh, no, there's Brundage's.
Brundage's? Oh, you don't want to trade at Brundage's. Why, Brundage is expensive. Brundage is unpolite. And Brundage
It's
is...
right around the corner.
Thanks, kid.
Oh, you ingrate. You flapjaw. You...
Now, Herbert?
Mouth. You...
Now, Herbert!
Don't now, Herbert me. Did you hear what this snake in the grass just said?
No, dear, I didn't. But just because you didn't get any sleep last night and woke up with a short temper is no reason to take it out on Maynard. After all, it's not his fault that you stayed at the grocer's convention until 3 o'clock in the morning.
What grocer's convention? He was down at the Bison Hall shooting pool.
I was not.
Sure you was, Mr. G. I saw you down there last night through the basement window. I was out there picking up tinfoil. That's my hobby, Mr. G, picking up tinfoil. I got the biggest ball of tinfoil in the whole neighborhood, maybe the whole world.
So, shooting pool again, after you promised.
No, don't you talk to me about promises. You gave me your solemn oath that you wouldn't buy another hat this year. So what was that you came in with yesterday afternoon?
Well, that was such a bargain, marked down from $35 to $6.95.
Oh, no, Mrs. G, that was $16.95.
It was not.
Sure it was. My mother went shopping with you, don't you remember?
Aha, yourself.
Don't talk about promises to me.
Don't talk to me at all.
Oh, that suits me just fine.
Good morning, Mr. Gillis, Mrs. Gillis. How's Dobie?
They told me he wasn't dead, but they're awful liars.
What a ridiculous idea. Dobie will be fine in a day or two.
I don't suppose I could see him.
You better not, dear. He might still be contagious.
Okay, well, just tell him I came by and tell him that I'm thinking about him all the time, every minute of the day.
Were you thinking about him when you made a pass at Nate Gahagan?
He did not make a pass.
Ooh, what a whopper. You're practically flying yourself on him like a boa constrictor.
That's constrictor, and I didn't.
I'm sorry, Zelda, but I'm afraid I got to go along with Big Mouth here.
And I do, too. And I must say, Zelda, I'm just a tiny bit shocked. I mean, there he is, my poor baby, upstairs in his bed of pain. And here you are throwing yourself at the first man that comes along.
Yep, that's what she did.
Perhaps it's not my place to say so, but I don't think that's the proper way for a girl to behave who claims to be in love with Dobie.
Oh, I am.
Why, there he is up there with a raging fever. I told him he was working too hard. And do you know that last Tuesday, he didn't get home from the library until after midnight?
What library? Last Tuesday I was out skating with Bubbles Clancy.
He was? He told me he was at the library, too. Why, that lying rat.
Speaking of lying rats, miss, you don't do such a bad job yourself, no offense.
You neither, Mr. G, no offense. You neither, Mrs. G, no offense. In fact, this whole family's like a nest of liars, no offense.
It sure is. And I'm getting out, and for good, and right now.
Hold. Oh, dear friends, don't you see the error of your ways? Oh, what a tangled web we weave when first we practice to deceive. The truth stands on 2 legs, a lie on 1. Oh, friends, it is not too late to change your ways and be like lovable me. All you gotta do is tell the truth all the time, and you too can be clean and pure and sweet inside, just like adorable me. Oh, dear friends, what do you say?
Ah, shut up!
you.
I doubt it.
Dobie, Gillis, and I are finally, utterly, definitely, completely, and positively through. I'm a free woman.
So?
So there's nothing standing in our way anymore, don't you see? You were afraid you'd be a pawn in some game between Dobie and me. Well, that's no longer true. I'm yours, all yours.
Zelda, you make it awful hard for a fella to be a gentleman. Now, I don't want to hurt your feelings, and I'm going to hate myself for saying this, but who needs you?
You do, you great ninny.
No, I don't.
Well, what's wrong with me? I'm smart, talented, loyal, devoted, and strong. My appendix is out, and I haven't got a cavity in my whole head.
Swell, Zelda, but are you rich? Because I've got to have a rich girl.
Nate, am I hearing correctly?
Yes, you are.
You, Nate Gahagan, gentleman, athlete, member of the Y, you want to marry for money?
It's not a question of wanna, it's a question of have to. Look, Zelda, there's one thing in the world I can do. Shoot baskets. Now, how in the world am I going to make a living shooting baskets? If I was tall enough, I could turn pro. But I'm a little tiny fella, just 6'1". So you see, I gotta marry money.
So what's the problem, Nate? I'm loaded.
You are?
Sure. Dad's is in the automotive game. Egad, how the money rolls in.
Are you telling the truth?
Am I telling the truth? I appeal to you. Am I telling the truth?
No, Zelda, what you're telling is a bunch of big, fat, enormous lies.
You're not going to listen to me, are you?
Yep. Oh, for shame, for shame, for shame, Zelda. I mean, what fabrications and falsehoods? That's like lies. I looked it up in this book. 101 Wise Sayings About Truth. You kids ought to get a copy, especially you, Zelda, you big liar.
Maynard, could we get back to Zelda's money?
Money? I don't think the whole family saw $50 altogether.
She said her father was in the automotive game.
He runs a broken-down body and fender shop, even wears overhauls to supper.
Zelda?
Yes, Nate?
Don't call me, I'll call you.
Don't you feel better that the truth is out? I mean, don't you kind of feel like all warm and glowy inside?
Maynard, try to understand. There are times to tell the truth and times not to.
Oh, for shame, Zelda. There is never a time not to tell the truth. I mean, never.
Bravo, Mr. Krebs. Well said.
Thank you, your Captain Gownship.
And as for you, Miss Gilroy, I must confess myself surprised. How can you say that it is ever right for people to tell a lie?
Well, sir, I didn't mean lie exactly. I just meant that sometimes it's better to be a little tactful. I mean, you don't necessarily have to tell all the truth all the time.
Well, I'm sorry, Miss Gilroy, I can't go along with that. To me, the truth is always proper, always in season, always in style. The truth is a shining garment that adorns the man who wears it.
And you ought to know about shiny garments.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Krebs. What do you mean?
I mean, take that blue suit of yours. It's so shiny I could comb my hair in the back of it. If I comb my hair, that is.
Oh, really?
Of course, that jacket you got on today ain't so shiny.
Thank you.
It's more like tacky. It kind of goes along with your necktie.
Really?
And them pants, man, they're so baggy. Looks like you got somebody else in there with you.
Mr. Krebs, it may interest you to know that many people consider me a spiffy dresser.
Name one people.
Well, I do. I think you're a very dapper fellow, Mr. Pomfret.
And I think you're a liar, Miss Gilroy.
Yep, that's what she is.
And you, Mr. Krebs, are a boor. And if either of you wants to transfer from my class, I will place no obstacles in your way.
Gee, I think he was kind of
I
sore.
think everybody's kind of sore.
You too, Zelda?
Oh, why shouldn't I be? Just look what you've done in the past couple of hours with that big truth-telling mouth of yours. Number one, Mr. Pomfret hates me.
Me too.
Number two, Nate hates me.
Me too.
Why does Nate hate you?
Why not?
Good point. Where was I?
Number two.
Oh, yeah. Number three, Dobie's father hates me.
Me too.
Number four, Dobie's mother hates me.
Me too.
Number five, Dobie's father hates Dobie's mother. Number six, Dobie's mother hates Dobie's father. Number seven, I hate Dobie. Oh, Maynard, you've done a pretty good day's work, you and your truth.
You know what I think, small girl?
What?
I don't think this town is ready for me yet.
Maybe the entire world.
Maybe you're right.
Maybe I am.
Maybe I ought to go away by myself and become a helmet.
Maynard, that's hermit. Maybe you got the right idea.
Maybe that's just what I'm going to do.
Maybe it's all for the best.
But maybe before I go, maybe I'm going to tell a few people a few things.
Well, naturally, Zelda didn't think Maynard had run away and become a hermit. I mean, Maynard's always threatening to do something crazy, like joining the Foreign Legion or becoming a tightrope walker. In fact, last year he said he was going to give up everything and become an usher. He's wild about movies, that guy. But it's just big talk, and nobody takes him seriously.
Excuse me, Mr. Pomfret, sir. I got something to say to you, and kindly don't interrupt.
Maynard, what are you doing with that suitcase?
There you go, interrupting. You don't like people to interrupt you, do you?
No, but...
Okay, I accept your apology. Are you ready?
For what?
The following. I am a man who tells the truth. You may never see me again after I say this, but I gotta say what I gotta say. Mr. Pomfret, sir, shame on you. You are the worst dresser I ever saw, except, of course, for me.
Thank you for that distinction.
I'll excuse the interruption. Now, is that a way for a teacher to dress? You stand up here telling us about culture and art and beauty, and you look like something the cat dragged in. No offense. Now, how do you expect anybody to learn anything about culture and beauty with you looking like a one-man slum? No offense. Mr. Pomfret, sir, you think you are a good teacher, but I say you're not. Zelda, I am a man who tells the truth. You may never see me after I say this, but I gotta say what I gotta say. Zelda, you are certainly a dumbbell for such a smart chick. Don't you know that if you get a fella by treachery and falsehood, someday he will realize it and he will hate you for the rest of his life. If you really want a fellow to love you, you gotta play it dead honest, because the only kind of love that lasts is a love that is built on truth. Mr. G, did you ever stop to think how lucky you are having a wife like Mrs. G? I mean, here you are all the time yellering and hollering and pinching pennies, and there she is all the time smiling and being sweet and cuddly.
Now, just a darn minute.
Quiet, Herbert. I'm sorry, Maynard. You will have to excuse Mr. Gillis.
It seems to me, Mr. G, I wouldn't be all the time down at the Bison Hall shooting pool and roaring and yelling and snorting with all those big fat fellas if I had such a sweet and cuddly wife.
I would stop you now, Maynard, and thank you, except that I don't want you to lose your train of thought.
His train of thought is a slow freight.
Go on, Maynard.
Have you ever stopped to think, Mrs. G, how lucky you are?
Oh, no, Maynard, that's your line for Herbert.
It's also my line for you. Mrs. G, you're one of the luckiest ladies in the whole neighborhood. Oh, sure, Mr. G is mean and rotten, no offense, but he also works long and hard to provide you with food and clothing and a roof over your old gray head. I mean, he's up at dawn every morning.
Sometimes
he works
earlier.
until 7 or 8 each night.
9 or 10.
And you shouldn't ought to be going out and spending money for crazy hats, which you don't need anyhow, because Mr. G is too stingy ever to take you out anyplace. In conclusion, let me state...
It's a good thing I was sick in bed, or Maynard might have ticked me off, too. Well, that concluded Maynard's lecturing for the day. But there was more coming. Plenty more.
There he is.
Maynard! Maynard! Maynard, you can't do it.
Hey, give me back my suitcase.
Please stay, Maynard.
Please.
Pretty please.
Pretty please with sugar on it. What are you doing?
Maynard, now,
Oh! If you wish to talk to me, you must appoint a spokesman and behave in a parliamentary manner.
All right, Pomfret, you're the gabby type. Start talking.
Yes, Mr. Pomfret.
Very well. Maynard, we four have consulted, and although we agree that the bluntness of your approach had a certain lack of diplomacy, still, its content had the ring of verity.
What he's trying to say is you made sense.
You opened my eyes.
And mine.
Yes, Maynard, and mine. You were right, of course, about my other clothes.
And you were right about my chasing fellas.
And you were right about me being a lucky woman.
Oh, and you were right about me being a lucky guy.
Then you ain't sore at me?
Maynard, we love you.
Me? Oh, come now.
Yes, even me, Maynard. Son, you're all right.
You're a fine human being.
A fine, intelligent human being. And I never thought the day would come when I'd say that.
Well.
Okay, Maynard, give me the suitcase.
What do you want with my suitcase?
We don't want your suitcase, dear. We just don't want you to go away. We want you to stay with us always.
Who's going away? Where?
Concentrate, Maynard. You have to be going away. You're carrying a suitcase.
Well, I'm not going away, really. I'm just going to the movies.
With a suitcase?
Yeah, it's a triple feature. Boy, that's really a gas of a triple feature. I've seen it 8 or 10 times now. You want to come?
Maynard, just to satisfy an old man's curiosity, what do you want with a suitcase in the movies?
Oh, Mr. G, it's a triple feature. I get hungry. Mrs. G?
Maynard, what's the matter?
Oh, man, it's them triple features like really rough on the eyes when you sit in the front row.
So why do you sit in the front row?
Because I always sit in the front row.
Oh.
Hey, you guys been waiting out here all through the triple feature?
No, dear. We went home and had a little talk about you.
Yeah? What about me?
Well, numerous suggestions were put forward, Mr. Krebs. Unfortunately, none of them legal.
Yeah, and tar and feathers are hard to get now.
However, we did reach a decision.
Yes, Maynard, we did. Now, you helped all of us very much, and we are grateful.
But, Maynard, in the future, if we should ever be in any trouble, and you feel like helping us...
Yeah?
Don't!
No!